Hello, everyone. This is Darren Smith, manager of the GiG Exchange in Wilson, North Carolina. I have with us today Taylor Kerby with Triangle UAS. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Taylor Kerby. I'm from Wilson, North Carolina. Actually, I grew up locally, went to Fike High School for 2 years. I have a startup company, Triangle UAS, and we're mainly focused on technology development and technology integration with local and state governments. Our company really exists to go out and not only show governments what tools that they can use to integrate drones into their smart city tech, but educate them on how to do that and actually provide a completely turnkey solution.
That's awesome, man. Again, thanks for being with us today. I'm curious, how did you get into drones? How did you get into this?
You know, I have a little bit of a varied background. I fly as a commercial airline pilot for United Airlines, and I got an engineering degree from NC State. So the aviation side of it's always been there for me. The engineering side's always been there for me. And growing up, I was kind of a geek that liked to play with, all the coolest gadgets. And so drones were naturally something that I had an interest in. Pretty much as soon as they came out. And I realized quickly that with my background in public safety and engineering and aviation, I was kind of in a really good position to blend all of those together and to use drones more than just a toy or a gadget or something that's fun to go fly on the weekend. You can actually use them for smart city purposes, mapping, search and rescue, a lot of things that are going to help save time, money, and make processes more efficient.
That sounds exciting. You touched on Wilson earlier, and I'm really curious, I'm sure our viewers will be curious as well, but I know there was some type of smart app that you built that the city took advantage of or is taking advantage of?
One of the great things about Wilson is, besides being a great client, we've been able to partner with Greenlight to develop a smart city app with US Ignite, which is a National Science Foundation grant. It's a unique grant that it requires a public-private partnership. So you have to have a private company partnered with a public entity that kind of tag teams this grant. And one of the things that came out is they wanted to be able to stream real-time video and real-time data back to anywhere in the city. We have the video stream from the drone. Let me move it around here a little bit.
What is the significance of being able to real-time video streaming?
Right, so a prime example is Hurricane Matthew. It flooded a lot of the roads in Wilson, so it cut off access by vehicle. And traditionally, if they wanted to look at those areas, they would have had to go get a boat. But with the drone, they were able to take off, go survey the area, go figure out which streets were affected, where their access was blocked. And besides the police officer that was on scene being able to see that and make those decisions, they were actually piping the video back to the Emergency Operations Center so that high-level city personnel could better assess and make those decisions. They said that it saved them a bunch of time instead of deploying the boats and the water resources. And it was just an easy, simple thing to do that used to take, a couple hours. They could just take a drone from a police car and throw it up within 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. I can definitely see the time savings and obviously keeping the first responders safe as well. When I look at a company like yours and you can see the city, and you've experienced it firsthand, the city really embraces being innovative. It embraces helping companies like yours. But just from your standpoint, how does Wilson, being a smart gigabit city and with the Greenlight infrastructure, how does that help companies like yours?
Well, Greenlight's definitely necessary for some of the things that we've done with Wilson. So it's very rare to have reliable high-speed internet pretty much throughout the city.
Right.
So for example, the live streaming project takes a really big network to work. So the fact that the pilot can connect to, gigabit class Wi-Fi pretty much anywhere within the city limits is definitely something that enables IoT technology to kind of accelerate in Wilson, whereas other cities may not have that advantage. As far as us as a company, it lets us move some of our workflows that traditionally have been in the office out into the field. For example, if we're flying a mapping project or a modeling project, you can have up to 40 or 50 gigabytes of data at a time, which, if you can imagine, that's a lot of data. If you're over 4G, or even if you have Wi-Fi that's not gigabit speed, it just becomes painstakingly slow and hassle to upload that data in the field. You just really can't do it. So it really takes what used to take a day, and we can knock it out much more efficiently by being able to move some of those processes and workflows back out into the field with the Greenlight infrastructure.
Excellent. We like to hear stories like that and see how having the infrastructure we have through Greenlight and support a company like yours is always a good story. So Taylor, obviously you guys are being very innovative. I'm just curious, is there anyone else doing this kind of innovation with drone technology?
It's moving really rapidly. So some of the things that started out kind of on the cutting edge is become more widely adopted. However, We try to stay on the cutting edge. So when you go buy a drone, you're going to have a hard time getting that footage anywhere besides the SD card that comes on the drone. It's just not something that's really supported or done, is live streaming the footage back to an incident command center. So most people are stuck flying the drone landing, taking out an SD card, putting it in a police car and racing it over to an EOC, which, as you can imagine, would take time. So the streaming portion is definitely innovative. We're definitely, I think, the only people in North Carolina, and not only in terms of technology, but in terms of price. So we're trying to take technology that used to cost, tens of thousands of dollars and pull it down to thousands or maybe even hundreds of dollars, so that, price point is not a barrier to entry anymore. So we're innovating on the technology front, as well as trying to make technology more attainable.
Anything on the horizon that you're next up for Triangle UAS?
So actually, Joe Osby with the City of Wilson's GIS department wanted us to show off one of the projects that they did just briefly. This is a downtown site that the City of Wilson flew. This is their new BB&T building that's under construction. So as you can see, they were able to use the drone to generate like a 3D construction model of the project. It also puts out a map here. So here's an aerial view.
Wow. You
have the ability to do things like measure distances. We can get GPS coordinates, so if you wanted to know like the location of this drain, it'll give you your lat and long. So you can go do utility location, things that generally are required. A survey team on the ground can be done really rapidly from the air, especially now with coronavirus, right? People are kind of working from home, so it's kind of hard to do a site tour. But if you give them the 3D model, it's just an emailable link. They're able to kind of do a virtual site tour wherever they may be.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So here's an accident reconstruction. This is an early stage accident that we did with the Wilson Police Department. So, generally when you have a large accident, especially on a major road, it can shut down the road for up to a few hours. And what they're doing is they're, taking a lot of photos, they're taking measurements, they're trying to document the scene so that once they do clear the road and go to court, they have everything, precisely mapped out. It's just a very cumbersome process. So with the drone, they're able to fly an accident scene. This one probably took about 5 or 6 minutes to fly. And then once they verify that they have the data, they're able to open the road because they're going to be able to freeze the scene. So you can look here and kind of see the level of detail that you'll get from the 3D model. You can also, like I said, take measurements on this. And so this will give you kind of your measurements that you would take on scene. It saves them a lot of time in the field.
That's awesome.
On large accidents, the Highway Patrol uses this on interstate accidents. It speeds up their data collection by hours. What used to maybe take 2 or 3 hours can literally be flown in 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, the details are incredible. How can people follow you?
We have a website. It's just www.triangleuas.com. Make sure not USA, but UAS. You can actually go to our website, and the contact information there will forward directly to my cell phone. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Well, Taylor, I can't thank you enough. I think our viewers are going to find this very interesting to see what you're up to, what your company's up to, and obviously how Wilson has helped support your efforts and what we've benefited from using your technology and your innovation. It's always exciting to have an entrepreneur on our show and talking about things they're doing from innovation and pushing the technology limits. For all of our viewers, thanks so much for tuning in. Please follow us on the website, which is gigeast.com, or our Twitter account @gigeast. Again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, Darren, for inviting us. We're happy to help.
Taylor, thanks so much, man. It was great.